You're listening to the Sass Says podcast. I'm your host, Christie Rocha, also known as Sass. I identify as a woman, a wife, and a mother. That should tell you a lot already. And over the last few years, I've learned the value of talk therapy. I have seen how my inner work not only enhances my own well-being, but also my marriage, my parenting, my relationships. And in fact, you wouldn't be hearing this right now if it weren't for the work I've done. My mission is to debunk the misconceptions and stigmas around what therapy is and who it's for. Let's normalize working on our mental health and seeking help when needed. We've all heard of self-care, self-help, and self-love, but do you often wonder how to actually make it all happen? I do. You'll hear strategy-based conversations with professionals, as well as inspiring and validating stories from women who are just like you and me. Think of this podcast as the weekly therapy sessions you didn't know you needed, with a dash of sass, a lot of vulnerability, and me, relentlessly asking, but how? Hello. Welcome to the second solo show of the month on the topic of productivity, ambition, and mental health. So a big part of managing my mental health, pursuing my ambition, and optimizing my productivity has to do with time management. So first of all, did you catch Wednesday's episode with time management coach Sade Kelly? If you missed it, you might want to go back and catch it out. All right, so what's really interesting is what I'm loving about doing this series this way, where I am focusing on one topic per month, is that all of the conversations and the takeaways that I'm having are overlapping. So last week, I talked about learning about what my core strategies and motivators are as an Enneagram type 3, and how I've had to redefine what it means to achieve and be successful in motherhood, in adulthood, with my podcast, and just being at the point in life where I feel like I have hit all the mile markers that were set out for me, meaning education, house, job, spouse, kids. Like growing up, those were all the things I was striving for, and now I kind of have them, and it's like, now what? And now here we are coming off of the conversation with Sade, and my biggest takeaway moment, situation was about how I'm going to redefine consistency. I absolutely love this. I truly needed it, and I didn't realize how much so. This idea of redefining what it means to be consistent in relation to my time management practices taps right into the little type 3 heart of mine that wants to believe that the only way I am successful, whether that be in business, in parenthood, in fitness and nutrition, is to be the best. And how do you be the best? You consistently show up. But I can't consistently show up in all the ways every day the way my type 3 little soul wants to. It's not possible or healthy for me to strive to show up in every aspect of my life every day, 100% effort. So what does consistently showing up mean for me? And pushing that idea even further, does it even mean that I'm consistently showing up the same way every week? Like, I could really go down some rabbit holes here. So, for example, if I consistently exercise every Monday, is that success? Well, if I define it as success, then heck yes, it absolutely is. If I consistently exercise 3 times a week and 1 time a week during the week where I'm PMSing, is that success? Well, yeah, if I just define it as success, if I define that as my consistent routine, yeah. Are you picking up what I'm putting down here? Like, how incredibly liberating is this? And I can apply this to anything. Take parenthood. Am I consistently showing up perfectly in parenthood? No. But do I consistently apologize when I mess up? And is that how I define successful parenting? Not in my deepest, darkest moments, to be totally truthful, but that's what I'm working towards, right? That's success. I just really, really love this idea, and it's giving me a whole new world of possibilities to look at and think about. The achiever, the type 3 performer in me craves the liberation from go, 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 push, push, push all the time to find it for yourself, to find it for what works for you right now. And what works for me right now might not be the same thing that works for me in September when our schedule is different again because the kids are in different schools. Or I should have even said what's going to work for me in July, June, August, June, July, and August, when school's over and the kids are on the summer routine. Like, I could even, it's not just about the kids, right? But like when it's nice out, my routine's going to look different because I want to get outside more. I want to, you get what I'm saying. Okay. If you are loving the sound of all this too, but you need help figuring out what parameters to set for yourself, or honestly taking a step back and saying, what matters enough in my life to start to think about this way? Well, this is what Sade does. She walks you through all of this and kind of holds your hand and guides you through thinking this all through and then actually implementing a plan, which is really, really cool. And actually, we're going to hear a lot more about consistency, especially as it relates to business, in the next episode on Wednesday with Holly Marie Haynes. And this is what I'm saying. Everything's kind of overlapping for me. And so I'm actually having a hard time separating my thoughts from Enneagram to time management to what you're going to hear about with Holly, because they so truly align and overlap in the best ways. And this is why I thought this would be good, but forgive me if I sort of like repeat things or, I don't know, overlap the thoughts. But anyway, the second big takeaway from the Sade interview is about time management as a tool to define your lifestyle. Sade is an example of clients who hold the belief that prior to working with her, time management meant that their life would be rigid, that it would be limited in some way. And she helps them see how much more time becomes available to you once you put time management practices in place. And I feel like I come at this from a little bit of a different perspective. I, in these last few years have seen time management as a chore. It's something that I need to tackle. It's something that's on my list. It's something that is, in my mind, it's built up to be this very hard and daunting thing, because truly most of the time I feel like my life runs me rather than I run my life. And to make this transition back to me running my life is so much harder than just existing in the world where it runs me, even though I know I really want to be running it. My kids, my partner, they come first, and whatever is left over goes to me. And I know this is not what I want. So when I hear time management as a tool for designing my lifestyle, I hear it as giving me back some more time for myself. I hear it as unlocking hours previously not available to me. And I really got to be honest with myself. And when I say previously not available to me, that is a limiting belief, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. Just how we use them. Okay. So I have the other limiting belief that time management practices at this point in my life are not suited for me because my schedule is constantly changing. I feel like I'd be disappointed more often than not in implementing time management practices, because the only example of time management and routine building that I have up until this point is what my life was like before kids. And what I mean by that is really my time was so much more my own. And I certainly didn't time manage perfectly before kids, but I have a hard time like moving and shaking and going with the flow, which is like, I don't know, probably the main skill you need when you are a parent, especially of toddlers. But Sade is giving me permission to redefine time management and to redefine routines. Routines don't have to be every day. They can be every week or even every month. And this is how I will start to design my lifestyle. When I think of lifestyle as like, when I really just like dissect the word, right? It's a mode of living. There's nothing written in stone about it. And so if you're watching this right now, you're watching me kind of move around, I associate it with fluidity. And when I think about my time management practices as having fluidity, I can wrap my brain around that. And it's just going back to my previous point. Previously in my life, time management meant the opposite of fluidity. It really did. It meant time blocking in a way that every second of the day was occupied, and it did feel rigid. So maybe I don't come at it from a completely different point of view than I said earlier. But I guess what I'm saying is that my life now requires more fluidity than ever before. That's really what I'm saying. And so when Sade talks about time management practices as including fluidity and the ability to adapt, okay, I can get down with that, And just as an example of what I'm talking about, on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I consistently get up before my kids. I get myself ready and then start their morning and take them to school. But on Tuesday and Thursday, there is no school to rush off to. They are home. So I tend not to get up before them. And I can get really down on myself about this. Like, why can I do it Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but not Tuesday and Thursday? But with this new perspective that I have now, thanks to Sade, doing that morning routine that I have on Monday, Wednesday, Friday is consistent. That's a routine. And right now, that's my lifestyle. I have some days where the kids and I are up and out, and some days where we take it easy. And that has to be okay. And I have to start to see the value in that and appreciate that and see just how much I am doing. And once again, if you have been following along on the recent episodes, I'm having the awareness moment of how hard I am on myself. Again, that is a consistent theme. Hello, type 3. Okay. So anyway, something from the conversation that I really loved that Sade talked about, but I have not fully implemented yet, but I would like to, is the idea of setting up a consistent, whether that means once a week or I don't know, twice a week, bi-weekly, setting up a meeting with myself. I really like this and I know that I would benefit from it. And I do see that perhaps I am slowly cultivating my own version of this for the past week, not a long time, but for the past week, anytime I am going to transition during the day, whether that be stopping work to eat or, getting up to get my kids to school or getting dressed or anything, I'm about to do something different in the day in between tasks, chores, podcast stuff. Even sometimes when I'm going to engage on my phone, whether it be with personal text messages or social media, I have really made an intentional habit over the last week of asking myself, how do I want to feel? And we've heard this so many times on the show, right? Especially as it relates to food and body, but I've started applying it to everything. And although I'd love to schedule a time to meet with myself for more than, couple of seconds, 30 seconds here and there throughout the day, those 30 seconds of checking in with how I want to feel has helped me live and feel better just in the last week. And so that ain't nothing. It has helped me get more done. It's helped me get more sleep. And it does help me evaluate how I want to spend my time, which is something that Sade talked a lot about. How do you value your time? Do you value your time? These are things we need to think about. And it's such a constant thing, right? Time. Probably, I don't know. That was like silly, but what I mean by that is I think we take it for granted and we just get on autopilot, and we need to find ways of getting off of autopilot. So anyway, I know I have follow-up questions for Sade now that I've really given some of this some thought, and I'm sure you do too. So please sign up to join us live on Zoom on May 31st. 1 p.m. Eastern by visiting sasssays.com/panel. It's linked in the show notes. This is a free live Zoom call with me, Sade, Sarah Wallace, Holly Marie Haynes, and Danny Kenny, where you will have the chance to ask your questions to the experts. You must use this link to sign up in order to get access to the Zoom link. So go ahead. I'm finished here. Sign up, and I'll see you there. Check back in on Wednesday for my conversation with Holly Marie Haynes. We're talking consistency in business, scaling your business in just 8 to 10 hours a week, growing a business without social media. Huh, could you imagine? And of course, knowing your why behind everything you do. All right, that's all I've got. I hope to see you on May 31st. And like I said, come back Wednesday for my conversation with Holly. All right, bye. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Sass Says is a production of Luann Nigara, Inc. This podcast is meant to be educational and not meant to replace professional therapy or professional medical attention. To learn more about today's show and what's new in my world, head over to sasssays.com. Thanks so much. Talk later.